Victoria,
Hello.
how are you?
Fine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Stoyan.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Every time, Victoria, we're having conversations, we start talking with the intention and the purpose to discuss a specific project or something, and then we end up in a completely different, deep conversation about productivity, minimalism, essentialism, and whatnot
True.
else.
True. Obviously, we share some common ground, common topics. So no wonder that we are together now, even only virtually. But yeah, nice to be with you again.
Do you have your cup of coffee with you?
Yes, definitely. Here it is. It's coffee
Right.
and productivity. So
Hey, we gotta follow the brand guidelines.
you
So,
follow the yeah.
hello everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Productivity. Today, I have the pleasure to be here with a productivity soulmate, so to say, Victoria Blazheva, who's first vice president in a leading bank, but she's also doing so many other things, and I'm always impressed by the ease with which at least the energy she's conveying outwards, but she would
I'm
share
very
with us
happy
how
that I'm very happy that I meet that vibe. Otherwise, no. But it's good that I create this impression. No, thank you.
you definitely do. And
Okay.
Victoria, why don't you maybe share, to begin with, to give a context, a little bit about your background, your story, and what is your focus these days?
Okay. So I will just pick up one word that you said. You said a story. So I'll just tell you a story if you're okay with it. It was 10th grade, and just to explain where I am today, it was 10th grade. And I was at school at the beginning of 10th grade. And in Bulgaria, at 10th grade, you have to decide which subject you want to study more in order to go to the university and apply with this subject to the university. So I was standing in the hallway and I had two doors in front of me. One door was math and languages, and the second door was literature and what was it? And history. So I felt very comfortable with both. So I was at a dilemma. And then the bell rang, the bell was ringing, and I had to make a decision. And I made a very quick decision at that point. And there was a guy entering the math door, and I went after him. So this is my life, but this was my life at 10th grade. So I had to make a choice between math and languages and between content creation, literature, history, humanitarian subject. But I don't have to make that choice anymore because in my work I can combine both. I can combine both business, math, and I can combine also content creation. So this makes me quite a happy person. And if you're interested to know what happened with the boy, 10 years after this incident that I followed him, I made him convince him to propose me, and we got married in Las Vegas. So this is it, the story.
Wow.
So this is the context of me, but I'm happy. So the moral of the story, I'm happy that I don't have to make this choice between mathematics, between being straight to the point, and content creation, which is what I do.
It's really interesting. We start with this part of the conversation, which is you shared in a way what your passions are and how you find a way to live them so you're feeling fulfilled. And I'm curious and I'm wondering, when was it that you realized what makes you happy, and what professional journey you should embark on?
This is a very deep question, and probably coffee is not the right drink for it. So, but No, really, what I think, that it's good that each of us, and this is my credo, is that whatever we do, we have to try to do our best on it. No matter how simple it is, no matter where your job title is here or here. I had a very amazing example of my first boss when I started working in communications. So I was just dealing with media in one bank. So I was responsible for media relations. And we went to one fair at the beginning of my career in communication. We went to a fair, and what happened was my boss, who is he's now head of communications of a very big bank in Europe. And my boss at the time, he just started fixing himself, the banners. He started putting them up. He started to look for duct tape in the near trash cans because he wanted to make this piece, which we had there, perfect. And this is when I realized no matter what you do, you cannot be ashamed of these things. You just want to do a good job. So this is what I'm trying to do. And I've been lucky with excellent companies and employers so far. I have to say that there is, because you're part of the entrepreneurship community, part of these super cool people that I like so much. And there is one thing that I see in the startup millennial communities, millennials, they seem to believe that big corporations somehow don't allow for these things, for entrepreneurship, for expressing yourself. But I have to tell you, it's a perfect place now because all of the companies want you, and all of the companies really want you to express your personality. They want you to be colorful. They want you to give suggestions. Okay, at least my organization, but I'm pretty sure majority of the organization, because they have realized they either do that or they die, and they don't want to die. So this is what happens. So really, my point is, we all need to simply do our job as best as we can. And I found this very useful in the COVID times, because in COVID, we were separated. Suddenly, these vast distances, you were in the office before, and then you're thinking, what should I do? Do your best. That's it. So, yeah,
Keep it simple. Simply do your
keep,
job. And
simply
talking
do your
about
job. Yeah.
talking about simplicity, one of the main topics of the day, and I'm super interested to dig deep into it, is minimalism.
Mm-hmm.
When was when was it for you the first time you got really interested in this concept?
Mm-hmm. I really have to thank you for inviting me to this place. I really, really have to thank you. And by the way, let me congratulate you for your book Perform, because I think in this book you are also, even if not calling minimalism, you're trying to bring into to the organizations minimalistic ideas. And this was actually the point of my dissertation that I did in university. So I have to say, you know, I have to tell you this story. My professor, the most dreaded part of an MBA program or a doctoral program is when they tell you, now you have to pick up your thesis. You have to pick up the theme for your thesis. You have to decide what your research is going to be. And it was several years ago. I have already started to read about minimalism, following the minimalists, Joshua Becker. Then you have Matt Diavella now is super, super cool guy, famous cinematographer, amazing movies. Now he does also movies for Netflix. So basically, I had to pick up a topic for my dissertation. And the professor was standing in front of us. Good times. We went to university and we saw people. The professor, she was standing in front of us and she said, look, you just pick something in the organizations, in the business world that really pisses you off, but really, really, really pisses you off. It makes you mad. And just take your knowledge and try to propose a solution. And I found what pisses me off, and it's inefficiencies. It is inefficiencies. It is waste. And basically, whenever I see, like in big organization, you can understand there are a lot of inefficiencies, and it's a normal thing. I mean, it's not like it doesn't happen to everybody. In time, inefficiencies occur. You just have to do something about it. And I just said, okay, but there is this social movement which a lot of young people are interested. It's called minimalism, and why not try to use their ideas? They seem happy. Seem happy when they do it, when they live it. They seem happy. They seem very productive. They seem to even make money from it. And why not just take it and try to apply it to a big organization, to big corporations, and see if that works? And this is it. This is the story. I told you before that I want my current passion is doodling. So I have two left hands, but for doodling you don't need a right hand. So I just wanted to mention. So I made this doodle. I want to show to your audience. So this is what I think all of us, when you talk about purpose, whether minimalism, this is a very minimalistic way. This is a very minimalistic way to assess whether you're happy with what you do and whether you want to make some change. So is a lesson in Japanese. Ikigai is the purpose for getting out of bed in Japanese. And basically, what we need to do is to have the ikigai, which is the intercept between what you love, what you're good at, what you get paid for. It is very important to get some money out of it, and what the world needs. So this is the purpose. So basically, what you love, what you're good at, what you get paid for, and what the world needs. If you do this in a simple, efficient way, and you do it with your heart and passion, I think you'll be successful and a happy person.
I love your doodles. I've been following your blog. First of all, thank you for your praise for the book. Now that you mention it in this manner, I haven't really thought about it, but mentioning in this way, maybe many of the principles we are actually applying them and teaching teams and organizations to apply them as well. Mm, but I love your doodles, and I love the whole idea of understanding that less could be much better in many cases. Like this
Less, but the right
consumerism.
one. Yeah.
Mm,
Less, but the right less. Yes. I think everybody would agree. I don't think anybody would disagree that if you just clear the clutter and the waste, you're better off. You're ending up with the people you want to be with. You end up on the job you want to be. You end up spending your day the way you want to spend it. And it is not a panacea or anything. It's just from time to time, and it's a new year is coming, so it's um, a good time to make a review of how our year went, and if we can to make some improvements, we can, of course, always.
and if we start from the company side of things, whether it's a corporate, whether it's a startup, if somebody decides I really want to get better with this, where should people start in terms of implying the principles of minimalism? And I know you can actually speak from experience to some extent. What were some of
Mhm.
the challenges for you on the way of applying these principles, and generally where should people begin this journey?
Anywhere. I don't think that there is a right way. So the idea is really it's easier said than done. So it's try to simplify. Look, as a person who is following minimalist, I'm a super fan of morning routines, evening routines, 5 a.m. clubs, all of that. But you start with your morning. I have to say, even if it's really sounds like a cliche, but you start with your morning. There is this very nice lady, you should invite her to your podcast. So I grew her, I watched her grow. Her name is Amy Landino. She's also a coach. I don't think she's realizing that she has a minimalistic approach to what she does, but she really does. And for instance, she wrote a book which is about morning routines. And the idea is you get up in the morning and you do it in your own terms. You are the one who makes your day. And frankly, if you don't make your day the way you want it to be, you will implement somebody else's day. And the idea is you plan your day, you get your coalition of people who agree that this is your day, and then you go on doing it. And in the end of the day, you're super happy. And there is this technique, for instance, highlight of the day. So because we have so many tasks, I don't remember who wrote it, and I will not be able to give the proper credit, but I heard it from Ali Abdal, who is a Cambridge doctor, also has a good YouTube channel that you can follow. So he was talking about the highlight of the day. So I think it was from the book Make Time. It has a lot of tips on productivity, by the way. So you write what you have to do, but you circle something, the one thing that is going to make you happy if you complete during the day. Even starting with that is, and this thing can be, to write my report and get it done with, or it can be to do this 10-mile running or whatever makes you happy, or to spend time with my family, to cook, whatever makes you happy.
I really love this approach, and I think often people look into what do I have to
Mhm.
do instead of what will make me happy. So it kind of changes the angle into how we approach it and address it.
It's do you know that I have a list on my phone? I will have to find my phone. Yeah, here it is. So I would recommend anybody to do it. I am, of course, as a person interested in productivity and minimalism, me and all the teenage boys and girls have a bullet journal. So I'm a super fan of bullet journaling. I spoke to a colleague of mine. Her daughter is 17, and I was like, "Oh, I do bullet journaling," and the daughter was like, "Yeah, yeah, me too." And the mother was, "What? What is that?" So really, I don't know how many of the audience like that, but they truly like it. And
Maybe,
on my
maybe you
bullet
can
journal, yeah.
maybe you can just share with the audience, those people who are not aware what is a bullet journal, what that
Okay.
actually is.
I will get to that. Just one. The side note is on the topic of I was writing in my bullet journal all the time things that make me happy. So I was asking myself in the end of the bullet journal. So it's a notebook, whatever notebook you can use. It's a planning notebook. It's just with bullets, so nothing special about that. And it's a little bit more expensive though, but you can use any type of notebook that you have. So I was writing at the back in order to remember which are the things that actually make me happy at work or whatever. And then I was writing them down and I was transferring them from bullet journal to bullet journal. Then I said, okay, why don't you do it in Google Docs, And yeah, I'm just reading from my list, and I have a list what makes me happy, and from time to time I just read it because I want to remind myself that these things make me happy, and I should put more effort into that rather than getting too angry at something or whatever. So here it is. I like to have a feeling that I'm prepared. So when I go somewhere, I want to know what is happening. I like to be healthy. Okay, the junk food of the past week doesn't count, but I know what I like. I like to do exercises. I like to learn new things. I adore learning new things. This is one of the things that I really want to do. I want to give an impression. Look at that. I want to give an impression as a superwoman. So you were kind to mention that. So really, that's it. I say the point is make a list, really write down what makes you happy. And you will see that once you write it down, you will read it more often, you will get to it more often. And this is a minimalistic approach. I mean, really write down what you want. By the way, can I show a formula because I spoke
Please
of
do.
math?
Please do.
It is a very minimalistic formula. Look at that. So I didn't think of that, but it's mathematics. So here it is. It's fantastic for the new year. So you can see here that if you do one thing for 365 days, you will end up with one. You will end up with the same thing. But if you make a small change in your daily routine, in your daily habits or whatever. So I didn't think of that. It's Atomic Habits from James Clear. Uh, if you make this super tiny change, like 1%, here it is, 1%, over 365, you end up with 37.78, which is a
Mm.
phenomenal result. And by the way, I realize now I have missed one equation, and the equation is 0.99 over 365. And it is devastating because I think it was something like 0.25, 26, something like this, 0.25. So this means that if you fail to do one simple little thing, at the end of the year, you will end up so worse. And this is minimalism in action. You don't have to do a humongous thing, you just have to review what is happening now and see if you can improve this. And this is frankly, this is not a rocket science. It is Toyota production system. It is, by the way, I drive Toyota, of course. So it is a hybrid. It is Toyota production system. It is lean. It is total quality management. So all of these things, they were in organizational management, and they are very similar to minimalism. What Toyota did, what all the companies can do very easily, take the processes, review them, and see what tiny little thing they can improve today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. And this is minimalism in action in the big organization. So this is a passionate topic of mine. Stop me anytime.
There's a really good book by Darren Hardy on the topic of that you just mentioned, the power of compounding, which is called, the book is called The Compound Effect, and it
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
explores what is the importance of making the small choices. And,
mm-hmm,
and he
mm-hmm,
has a really good example in the book where he says, when he goes and does a keynote, he asks the audience, has anybody here been bitten by an elephant? And usually there's nobody in the audience, of course. And he says, what about the mosquito? Have you been bitten by a mosquito?
mm-hmm,
Everybody, right? And then he's like, see, it's the little things that bite us. It's the failure to have a conversation with your partner when you had this little argument and say, I'm
mm-hmm,
sorry. It's
mm-hmm,
this one extra sales call that you need to make today, but you are like, I'm just going to skip it. It's the
mm-hmm.
one exercise this week that you're going to miss. It's the muffin that you're going to prefer instead of the apple. Uh,
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I have to add up to this in James Clear Atomic Habits because I ran recently, I did a workshop on atomic habits. You see, my company, really, we can do this. I mean, we do book club on atomic habits and we feel very happy about it. So I did this workshop, and in the book, there is this example, a plane leaving from San Francisco, and it has its front pointed and it goes to the other coast. And if the plane starts to fly, it should go to New York. If it changes a little bit, it's like some small centimeters. I don't know in which measuring zone we are, like 30 centimeters, which you wouldn't even see in the plane because it's so big. If you just do that, the plane will end up in Washington. And by the way, it really happened to the author. So this is why he knows this example. And it shows you the small things. We just don't realize the small things and how much those small things matter. And really, I have to thank you for, when preparing to come here with you, you made me reread my entire MBA dissertation, and I found so many useful things there that I have forgotten, and I can pick them up and try to apply them in whatever work I do. And who knows, probably get better. I don't know. We'll see.
Now I want to read your MBA dissertation. But by the way, we have a comment by Morten. Morten is hi Morten, thank you for tuning in. So he's more making a comment than a question. So he says, "What I think is a waste of time at work is someone else's core task and very
Mhm.
important to them."
Mhm. It's a very good comment, Morten, I have to say. Thank you for mentioning it. That's why I say in our work, what is good, we have to beat the others. We have to be the ones who are prepared. This is why I love to be prepared, because if you have a plan and if you go out, you shouldn't be afraid. You have a plan, you have idea, you want to implement this project, you go out, you share this project, then it's up to you to gather the guiding coalition. It's up to you to make your core task to the other. So you simply need to beat the others and be more prepared to it. It's easier said than done. I completely realize that, but yeah, I am big enthusiast of preparation. By the way, Morten, I want to tell you that my biggest annoyance in organization is I don't know if you can guess that, it's people on copy. I hate people on copy. This is something so annoying in organization. Okay, people need to be informed. This is important, but you see a lot of people who don't add value, and this concept of again Japanese concept related to minimalism, muda mori. What was it? Let me just check my notes. So it's muda muri mura, and it's again waste. In organization, what you have some people, which is mura. You have some people who are super busy doing a lot of work, and then you have others who have nothing. They can just go around. So this is a waste for the organization. Another waste is everybody to be overburdened, doing things, overstressing. Then you have burnout, and it is not sustainable. And then the other waste is when you have uneven, somebody's doing stuff just for the sake of doing stuff. And these are the people who don't add value, and these are the people on copy. And this annoys me a lot. It was part of my inspiration for the dissertation. Again, I will send it to you. It's not the best piece of work. I didn't get the top grades for it, but it was something that was quite to my heart. So I believe in it.
Vicky, I can totally relate with you when it comes to inefficiency and this kind of a being busy, kind of like seeing how there's a process that could be optimized and we're just wasting our time to get the result. These countless meetings in many organizations, like many people, one of the things that they're most annoyed by is the countless number of meaningless meetings where you should attend and you should be part of it, but they're not result oriented. They're not with a strict agenda and preparation, but
Mhm.
you need to be part of them. And people are like, I can't get things done because I need to be part of these meetings.
Yeah. By the way, yeah, there is no book so far who has offered uh, the solution to this problem. So we are all meeting in organization. This is important for people to meet. Let's not forget that even now we are realizing more and more how we want to meet each other. but we are all aware of the wastes during meetings. And yes, this is, there are people on copy on these meetings too, who are not doing a job, but their job is to attend the meeting. This is not a job done. This is attending a meeting. And by the way, our organization is, pretty early in the COVID situation, guidelines were spread, and I was happy to be part of that. And one of the guidelines was, don't do a meeting without an agenda. And when you see the managers doing it, then people start doing it. So even if it's a short agenda, don't do a meeting without an agenda. And what I do on Sunday evenings, on Sunday afternoons, because we are having a meeting on Monday with my team, with our team, I send them an agenda, even if it's similar every time. But it's better to have something to hang on, especially in this time now that we are in separated by the distances. I want to show you something. This is why I went to grab it. This is I made this doodly thing on it because this is the biggest problem the organizations can have, and this is the dying sentence in any organization who is not going to be on the market for much longer, and it is this: I hope you can read it. Yeah.
Should I
So
read it, or would you like to read it for the podcast listeners who are not seeing the
yeah,
screen?
but we have always done it this way. So this is the statement. Let's do this. Let's do this. No, we have always done it this way. So this is the killer. I think this is the killer. I want to respect what has been done because I have worked, for instance, in a big organization for a long time, and I've seen it grow, and it was exponential. It's phenomenal. The good part of a good big organization is that it has the resources to change also, to be free to change, and not to just repeat we have always done it this way. This is a killer. By the way, I saw it on the internet. I didn't invent that, so I don't know whom to credit, but I thought I would gather for your audience who is seeking to improve themselves some things that might urge them to do other things to make their lives better. Yeah.
Person on the internet who wrote this quote, reach out to us and let us know, prove us to that this was your quote, and you'll receive a free copy of my upcoming book. There
That's
you go.
very generous of you. It was somebody in Italian. It was written in Italian. I saw it. So
I'll
could
go
have
chase him and
been,
send him a copy.
yeah,
So,
good one.
Victoria, talking about this, I just wanna praise you for your level of preparation. It's just such a pleasure to have guests like you who are requesting questions in advance, who are preparing with your doodles, with the quotes and everything. So thank you for being excellent, and thank you for striving for raising the quality in anything you do.
You're very kind. As I said, it won't make me happy to be here if I didn't prepare a little bit. So,
And I wanna go back to, I believe it was your dissertation for your MBA.
Mhm,
One of the first meetings we had, we spoke about essentialism, this book,
mhm,
and you mentioned with me that you had the pleasure and the chance to interview the author of this book. So I'm
mhm,
wondering, why did you decide to interview Greg, and
mhm,
and and what were some of the key takeaways or lessons that you still remember to this day?
mhm. I told you, I read my entire dissertation one more time because I knew we'll be speaking about this and about the C-suite minimalism. And I had so much fun writing it. I interviewed so many CEOs. I made quite a lot of research. And yes, basically what I did is I wanted to reach out to people who are minimalism by 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 what they say they do. And I reached out to the most famous minimalists. Most of them, though, they are outside of the corporate world. There were quite a few, and what they do is they share their own experience. Basically, most of them are YouTubers. I mentioned Matt Diavella, who is a cinematographer. He actually shot the movie about the two minimalists, which made them famous. And now what I know is they do another movie. And Greg was one of the very, very few people. I would have to call him Mr. McKeown because I don't know him. It's just I was happy to talk to him. He's a best-selling author, but
That's your best buddy, right? Yeah.
This super guy. He's one of the few who actually puts science behind it. So I read his book. Here it is. I just want to show you because I want to pay back the good thing that he did for me, spending time with me, talking with me for the dissertation. And so yeah, I reached out to him. I found his email. By the way, you can find anybody on the internet and just write to them, and you will be lucky to receive answers from majority of them. So really reach for the stars. You can speak to anybody. If somebody knows Sheryl Sandberg, I really, really want to speak to her. I'm very interested in this amazing woman. So yeah, Greg, we spoke, and what I remember, we were speaking, but by the way, there's something about what I spoke with Greg related to your previous conversation. He was telling me, many organizations say do more with less. They say work harder, not smarter. And he was like, this sounds like B word for the people if it's not with real good examples. If it's just a slogan, it's counterproductive, because if you tell people do more with less, what they do is they just do more. They don't produce more. They just become busier and busier and busier. And this is not the right way. It's not
To me, it sounds
natural.
like, when you say that, it sounds like people get kind of like defensive because it's like, oh, the boss wants me to do more because we're not doing enough. We need to look busy now.
Yes, but this is what happens in the corporations. Like, people are busy. We are dying. We're dying. There is this book about dying on the workplace. People getting busy. And of course, we have the bosses who are leading by example, who need to lead by example. But then you cannot always, I'm not top management, middle management. You cannot always blaming on the top management. We need to do ourselves what needs to be done. And Greg was saying, this is why this doesn't need to be read by the top management or by the people who are on the specialist position. It has to be read by everybody, because it is not your purpose to go to work and be busy. Be busy. One of the questions that I ask myself, is it sounds cheesy, but sometimes in order to make me feel better when I feel down, is whom did I help today? Really, whom did I help? So I helped a client who found my phone to reach out to the call center, or this colleague needed something to be done for them. So whom did you help today? So this is super important to ask yourself. And busyness is a killer. We don't have to be busy. We have to be really delivering value, which will make us happy. And the second thing I wanted to mention, that Greg made a great impression on me, was because I was asking him, so you're focusing on the essential stuff, you're improving it like the Toyota way. So you look at the process, you make it super perfect, and you have I will do this and I will not do this list. And I was like, so where's the innovation? So where's the innovation? You're doing the same thing and the competition is just doing something else. But he told me, you have to look at one word in two ways. One word is this one. So it's focus. So first of all, look at focus as a noun. And this is the essentialism, basically. You look at focus as a noun. You get your priorities and you do everything for these priorities. You don't strain, you don't go around. And you know what to say no to when you have this focus. But then he said, what you have to do is you have to do focus as a verb. How do you do focus as a verb? You focus on what is happening around you and you start making small changes to what is happening around in you according to what is happening around you. And this is kind of a revelation, so you focus on the important stuff as a noun. You have focus, and then you focus on the outside world and you react so that you can stay on top of things. You don't lose your sight. So this was really cool conversation with Greg. And yeah, I would like to thank him again for being so kind to spend
And by the
time
way,
with me.
guys, it's not just Victoria being kind. This is an amazing book. I highly recommend it myself. I haven't met Greg previously. I would love to have him on the podcast someday. So hopefully, I know I'll reach out and see if maybe we can get him sometime in the future. By the way, Victoria, we had a couple of comments coming in. Thank you guys for keep on posting comments. If you have any questions, now is the time to post them on the live stream. The first comment
Mhm.
now is coming from Ani saying,
Oh,
well
Annie is
done.
just amazing.
Ani says, well done and very useful. Thank you, Victoria Blazheva. And she's sending us a heart.
May I recommend anybody? There is another concept related to minimalism. It is called Huga, and it's Annie is a super specialist in Huga, and especially now in this holiday season, some Huga in your homes, in your hearts, in our home, in our hearts, is very important. So follow Annie. She's very good into spreading that love and that spirit. And this is something that we all need at that time. And Annie, thank you for always being around, even if I don't see you in person for a very long time. This is very inspiring to know you have good people. Yeah.
There you go, guys. Ani Hira. And I can only confirm about the Hugi. Be living in Denmark for 10 years.
Yeah, this is what
Scandinavian
I like
people have
about
this
you.
love. Talking
And you
about
can
Denmark,
pronounce it. You can pronounce it better even. Yeah. You
I
say it
can
again.
I can say it at least 80% right? Hugi.
I have no idea how I'm just yeah. There are a couple of words from the Nordic region that I really love. One is hygge. The other is lagom. Lagom is just enough, which is a good word for balance. Just enough. So do it just enough. Um, I appreciate that way of thinking, which is less stress, but I
Mm.
know it has its downsides. But lagom, whatever, however it is pronounced in the Scandinavian countries.
Well, depending
So
on which country, the
I guess
pronunciation is
so.
going to
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
little different. But talking about Scandinavia, Morten is back. Morten, thank you for being with us. So he has another comment. Morten
Hmm.
Hjort, and he says, if it works, do not fix it. It is not great to change just for the
Just for
change.
the change, absolutely yes.
If you do what we have always done, everyone do not need to change their ways and use time to learn the new system.
Absolutely, Morten. Whenever changes are done, it is extremely important to do the cost benefit analysis. I have seen in organizations, in my other lives, I work with a lot of companies. So I've done workshops for an IT company here in Bulgaria, met a couple of IT companies. So I'm just going around meeting people. said that you cannot do this in person anymore, but you can do it also online. So what I see in the various organizations is sometimes the changes and the worst changes are cosmetical changes. The this is why some people hate communications departments. This is why, because communications departments sometimes are used to do a band-aid, um, and you spread some messages, and this is not right. This is okay. I don't do that. I'm happy to not work in such an organization, but you can see that. You can see that sometimes, just for the sake of the manager's ego, changes are made which don't have to be made. Projects are made which don't have to be made. And Morten is very right to point into that direction. By the way, you probably heard about this thing called success theater. So success theater, it was pieces about General Electric in New York Times and in The Economist, and they were calling the performance of the last couple of years of General Electric, which I don't know the company, I have to say. I don't want to say anything bad about that, but the news outlets were calling it downward spiral. So people found out that the company is not performing well. And you have other examples like big busts. Um, uh, and it was all success theater. It was all showing off. It was all communications. It was all branding, and it was not good. And by the way, the Terranos lady, she gave a very bad reputation of the black blouse like this. If you remember, she was dressing up just like Steve Jobs, just for the sake of being named the woman Steve Jobs. And if you do changes, and Morten is right, you have to do it with a perspective of ethics and integrity. You don't do it for your own ego as a boss. You do it if the organization really needs it. But I work in an industry which needs to change, and we are changing dramatically. And I have to say, COVID is it is a very bad thing. I don't want to use bad words, but it sped up the processes so much. And in a couple of months, we achieved things that we were planning for the next 5 years. And it taught us that we can do much more than we thought we can do. So change is needed. I presume the banking financing industry is now where the music industry was when Napster and all this file exchange happened. And what we try to do is not be the music industry, So this is why we speak to guys like you. We meet with guys like you. We speak with, we attract talented people. In our organization, we have a board management board made of millennials. So they're shadow board to our management board, and our management board stays and listens to those people. You call it in a reverse mentoring, I think. It's called some form of reverse mentoring, where you have, people who are 15, 16, they're better in TikTok, in all of that, than me. I'm not even on TikTok, So you have to go and ask these people and admit that at some level they're better than you. And don't be afraid to ask. This is what I want to say. Don't be afraid to ask. So change a little. Don't do it for the sake of changing, and simplify. No.
So very briefly, this shadow board is, so they are not decision makers, right? They're just kind of a way for the real board to receive more real perspective and feedback on what's going on out there, right?
Well, I have to tell you that they were asked to propose projects for complete improvements in any business area that they would like to. I know that probably now in December there should have been a meeting. I don't know the details, but actually they were asked to, because they come from different parts of the organization. They were asked to see what is not going, like the professor told me, find what irritates you, find what annoys you, and try to fix it, offer a solution to fix it. And it applies to an organization, it applies to your life, it applies to the relationships that we have. So we have to just acknowledge that something is not right, not be afraid, and try to make it better. No.
We do. We definitely do,
Mm.
Victoria. Talking about all these things, it leads me to another question I've been meaning to ask you, maybe hinting a little bit in the description even of this whole stream, which is I'm really curious, how do you manage to stay on top of things when it comes to your personal time management and finding the right sweet spot between being ambitious professionally, achieving results at the workplace, running your other projects, which we afterwards will talk a little bit about, and also having a fulfilling personal life, family, and friends and passions and so on. How do
You are very good. You're a superb host. Making everything look pink. I should have wore pink. It's not pink. I mean, it's not pink. It's every day you put an effort. It's you put an effort in the relationship, in the time you spend with your close ones, in the time that you spend at work. And I have to say that I say to myself, but I think that I might need to say it also to everybody else. We don't have to be perfect, like really. And also, it's not my quote, it's Oprah Winfrey who said, "You can have it all, you just cannot have it all at the same time." And you just have to admit that. You have to acknowledge that. Um, I have a very good friend. She's a deputy CEO of one bank here in the region in Bulgaria, and she's phenomenal. And she was teaching me that you have to manage your energy. It's not work-life balance. You have to manage your energy, and you have to use the top of your energy for the creative stuff. You just have to see where you operate best. Like for instance, I operate best at 5 in the morning. So, but you don't have to be a 5 in the morning person. You might be the best 12 in the evening, 2 o'clock in the evening person, and this is fantastic. But you have to know where you're strong. So yeah.
I love that you're sharing the fact that you're not perfect, because we were sharing and talking before that some people
Look
I
at me.
actually heard people, oh my god, Victoria is just like this superwoman, she's on top of everything, she's so
See,
calm.
this is so cool of everybody. If somebody said that, it is so cool, and thank you also for a repeat. I should have wore the Superwoman.
Tip.
I do have a T-shirt, super calling me Superwoman. But no, I try to give my best in the different areas. This is what I try. I try to plan in my bullet journal. I try to
Oh,
plan, as I said,
oh,
I
Victoria.
want to be prepared. Yeah, I have a plan for the month.
Mhm.
I have a plan for the week. So I have what I want to achieve for the week because I want to see the things. And I have a plan for the day. For the day, my
Just in
favorite method. Yeah, what is it?
just in your paper bullet journal, that's
Yeah,
where
yeah, 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 yeah.
you this is the your tool.
It's absolutely. I will look for it somewhere here. Give me a second. So this is how it looks. It's a normal notebook. This one is actually it's a bullet journal, but I think it was a moleskin. So this is
Mm,
the inside.
wow.
So
I love
basically,
I love
what you saw is
just
I,
one
I'm a
second,
big.
sorry. I just want to say that some of the most productive people that I know, um, guys who are watching and listening to the podcast, stop trying to find the best software and app and just
Hmm.
excuse yourself that you are not on top of your time because you don't have the app. This is what people like Victoria, like other peak performers do. You get a piece of paper, you get a pen.
I write it down. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was thinking maybe I'm old fashioned, but really I don't care. And then I read it in Financial Times, which, kind of confirmed it's a confirmation bias, but still I like it. So they said, what you do now is you just use fancier notebooks, It's not the simplest, you just use fancier, but it's still paper. So yeah, I write everything down. I really getting things done. So one of the books that you need to read, guys, if you want to stay on top of things, it will make you crazy. You will hate it at some point. You will not apply everything, blah blah blah, but you will pick up some things from it. Is Getting Things Done by David Allen. It is like everybody productivity person is quoting and requoting it. But the guy says, don't put it in your mind, get it on paper, and that's it. Then you free your mind. And I use all the techniques. Like for the daily tasks, I use the Ivy Lee method for 6 tasks only for the day, because you cannot do more. Then I have the weekly. Then I have what I have. Let me just see. I have a small funny technique. Whenever I'm like overworked, which is happening quite a lot to everybody, I'm assuming, I pretend that I'm going on a holiday and I have to finish the job, and I have to have a 2 week very good holiday. It happened in the summers before. So what happens before holiday? I work until 12 on the Friday, and on Saturday I go to the holiday, but at least until 12 in the evening. And the time pressure makes me use another tool, which is the 4Ds. So the task is either you do it, either you delegate it, either you defer it, like postpone it, either you delete it. That's it, the 4Ds for dealing in pressure. So when there's not too many holidays, but I pretend I go on a holiday and say, what would you decide to do with this complete burden over you? What would you decide to do? So this is one of the things. And of course, the Pomodoro technique and all of that, yeah, which I'm sure your audience is very aware of. Yes.
Even if they're aware of it, I think reminding people about this, because it's really not about knowledge.
Mm.
We all know
Yes.
what we have to, like we have to eat vegetables and cooked food and exercise every day and sleep well and
Yeah.
organize
Yeah.
our time, but reminding people about these things
Yeah.
so they can
Well,
actually commit. And those of you who are listening, really try to think about what's the one thing from this conversation. Another great book, The One Thing. What's the one thing from this
mm,
conversation that really was a great reminder, maybe, or something new that you heard from Victoria, her stories, her the tools that she's using that you can actually apply already today or tomorrow. One thing.
I would have to say, if you pick one thing, and if you want to have an accountability buddy, if somebody is listening, so my email is viki@europe.com. So VIKI at europe.com. Send me an email and you say, I picked up this one thing that I want to do, and please remind me of it. I will write you an email in 1 month from now, and you will get a reminder of me. So write me at Viki, VIKI, at europe.com. So this is my personal email. If you need accountability buddy.
There you go, guys. There you go. And Martin, who's been with us the whole stream. Martin, great to see you, brother. Thank you. Now he actually came up with a question. Victoria, do you have a goal? Something that if you get to that, you do not need anymore.
More than I have had a goal, which when I achieved, I had to drop it. So it happens sometimes. I don't know if the question is like this. So you achieve something. I guess you achieve something, and when you achieve it, you're not interested anymore. It was not the case for me. I wanted very much to write for Forbes, and I wrote to Forbes in America to write for their website, and they said, "Ah, but you're in Europe." Basically, they didn't need me, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So Forbes doesn't want me to write for them, but then Forbes came to Bulgaria, and then the editor in chief asked me to write commentaries for Forbes, and I had to say no because I had so many other hats, and I adore Forbes, and I think it's going great in Bulgaria, and I would love if you're a Bulgarian to support this magazine. But I had to say no, even if it happened for me at that time. So I hope somewhere in the future, no. So
Thank you.
more than I understand the conundrum. When you reach to something, probably you cannot use it at that point, but it doesn't have to stop us from reaching. Yeah.
I guess maybe also to some extent is kind of like with the astronauts who made it to the moon, and then they come back and they're like, okay, what's next, right? Like we just achieved the biggest thing, that was the mission of to some extent. But I wanted actually to ask you something else, Victoria, before we wrap up with this amazing episode, and it's something that I read on your blog, victorycorners.com. Correct me if
Hmm.
I'm wrong, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was about, was it praise folders? How you call
Praise
it?
folders. Yes,
Praise
it's a
folders. Tell me
praise
about the
folder.
praise
Yeah.
folders.
Yeah.
And why should people have a praise folder, especially in times of Corona?
Hmm. When we are alone and we don't really communicate that much with other people, we meet them, of course, but it's very online. So I'm suggesting to people to keep a personal praise folder, probably in your inbox. I saw it in a video of Matt Diavella. I mentioned him before. He's a very amazing minimalist. So Matt Diavella was saying that he started to I don't know where he picked it up, but it's here with us now. And then praise folder is anybody who says something good about you, you just put it on the praise folder. We have days where we failed. Like last week, I had a day which I failed so tremendously, you know. But in these days, you have to realize that you've done something good before, and you can pick yourself up and again try to do your best. And this is why you need a praise folder. You need to gather, this is for the you part. Then you need a praise folder because you need testimonials for your product or service or whatever, because all of us are selling something, information, reputation, product, service, whatever, and we need testimonials. And when you have a good testimonial, you can call Stoyan and tell him, "Oh, but on your podcast, you said very nice things about me. So I'm selling something now. I'm not selling anything now, but would you be kind to be my testimonial?" So really, praise folders are good for your personal respect, for your feeling like a good person. And the second thing is they're also good for your business. And in business terms, it's basically your not complaints, but the opposite of complaints. So you definitely have to have people who say good things about you, your ambassadors, basically.
I love that. This is kind of like your cure for rainy days, so to say, collecting all this, all this
You
kind of.
need it. Yeah.
We'll do. Well, we're all humans, and I think this pandemic actually, sheds light on this human side. Like we finally we are more allowed to be ourselves and be human and be emotional and just be, right. So there's also positive things about this really really challenging year for many people. Victoria, it's been such a pleasure having you on this stream. To have you again in the future. And before we wrap it up, is there something that you really wanted to share, maybe a message, maybe something that we didn't go to in terms of a topic or area of discussion that you would like to kind of explore before we finish?
Um, no, just meet people, talk to people. This is what I want to say. This is underappreciated. Talking to people, whatever you do in your business, in your personal life, go and ask. How are you? Ask, can you help me? Ask what we can do together. Ask, let's just talk. Go out there and talk to real people in all areas of life.
Yes, and not only in person, because sometimes in these strange times you're not allowed to, but pick up a phone, call them on
Ah, you
Messenger,
exactly. You can
verbally.
talk in different ways. Definitely, you can talk in different ways, but just talk to people. That that's don't minimize on talking to people. Yeah, don't just stay in the office, in the room.
I love it. Thank you so much, Victoria. You
Thank you,
guys already
Steven.
know that how to reach out to Victoria on her email. If you are looking for an accountability buddy, I just want to remind everybody to go and check out Victoria's blog about minimalism and productivity. I'm reading it and it really inspires me. Victorycorners.com, right?
You're very kind. It's a small thing, but it's a creative outlet. And if somebody finds something interesting there, I would be happy. Yes.
Make sure to leave
Thank you.
her a comment. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Morten, for all the questions. And
Morten has been great. Thank you,
Morten has been
Morten.
great, definitely. So look forward to seeing you guys at the next episode of Coffee and Productivity. Have a great evening and remember to talk to people.
Bye.